Good evening, and you're welcome to this panel discussion powered by News.Band Television. Today, we are going to be looking at the upcoming, or rather, the forthcoming Anambra2021 elections. And we are going to be discussing under the theme, who sits in Agu-Awka? Today, we have representatives from some of the major parties and a political analyst to help us dissect this topic properly. And here's a panelist. We have Carmen Chooks from the Young Progressives Party. And we also have Agu-Awka. He's a political analyst. We are expecting representatives from the PDP, the APC, and ABGA. As they join us, we will introduce them. But for now, let me start with you, Uche. As a non-partisan person in this panel, looking at the state of affairs in Anambra, do you think this election should hold?
Well, as you said, I am definitely non-partisan. However, the constitutionally, there are a number of years for governor to sit. And that being said, Governor Obiano's time in office in Agu-Awka expires by March 2022. So, personally speaking, the election should hold this November. Without anything holding that forward, the election should hold, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, but do you think it will hold, considering the lockdown and insecurity challenges? Yes, do you think it will hold?
Now, that question itself is a hydra-headed question, because Anambra State, as it is, leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to security. And that being said, the election is supposed to be on the 6th, and of course, there are the IPOB agitations, and there are sit-at-home order in quotes that will happen, or is supposed to happen from 5th to 6th. The truth is, as far as Anambra or Southeast is concerned, somehow sit-at-home has not, or the federal government has refused to acknowledge or even accept that something of that sort has or continues to happen in Southeast. And since that is the way it is, most definitely they will push the election to hold. Now, should it hold is an ethical question, which, well, the answer to that question is it varies a lot depending on who is answering it. But personally, as far as I'm concerned, I think the election should hold.
Okay, let's talk to Carmen. Carmen, are you there? Carmen, you are muted. Carmen?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Kindly stay unmuted so that you can give me a prompt response. Yes, I can hear you. Now I'm asking, speaking about the insecurity challenges in Anambra, if your candidate should emerge the winner of the upcoming election, the forthcoming election, how does your candidate intend to combat this problem?
I think the network is bad. I'm struggling to hear you.
Mr. Chooks.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mr. Chooks?
Oh. Okay.
Okay, I think Mr. Chooks is still having some challenges, but while we are waiting for him to try to fix his network issues, Uche, let's get back to you. You have followed the campaign of the various candidates. So far, what can you tell us about their campaigns, their campaign strategies?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
I said, can you just talk about the campaign strategies of the major candidates? What can you tell us about the campaign strategies of the major candidates? I'm talking to you now, Uche.
Well, yes. First of all, I would think that you may need to outline who you think are the major candidates, because
I'm talking about the big four.
Parties are concerned,
I'm talking about the big four.
on the same line and vying for the same position. So when you say major candidates, who and who do you think are the major candidates?
Okay, I'm talking about the big four from the APC, PDP, YPP, and the ABGA.
Now, first and foremost, from you were saying, from the APC,
PDP, YPP, and ABGA.
Now, the APC, of course, whose gubernatorial candidate is Senator Andiuba, the ABGA, who is Professor Charles Soludo, the YPP, who is Senator Ifeanyuba, and the and yes, of course, the PDP candidate is now, as it stands in Anambra, there's noise coming out. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. I've muted him.
All right. Starting with I'm going to try to outline how it stands currently with all the four parties. The APC, okay, let me start with the ABGA, the ruling party. ABGA, the ruling party, there's always been this affinity with the Anambra person to ABGA, because there is a presumption that ABGA is the only Igbo-centric party as it stands, which has somehow in the past, or in fact, which has led to the 16 years that ABGA has enjoyed as governing Anambra State. However, the recent or the present, the government of the day has left much to desire. And this has, led to a lot of begrudgings at the grassroots when it comes to ABGA. That is why, even though the grassroots, the grassroots individual of Anambra State may want to vote ABGA or wants to, accept the campaigns or the entire manifesto story touted by the ABGA supporters, it leaves the recent results leaves a lot to be desired as a result of that. In fact, some people have even said that the very slogan of the ABGA people, Soludo Anambra, itself is faulty, because that would be an admittance that there is something wrong in Anambra. Because if it's not wrong, if it's not broken, why fix it? That's alone. So the campaign itself has been somewhat, well, of course, at the time there was said to be some members of the political parties argued that there was a disconnect between the Soludo manifesto and what is happening, or what is rampant or happening in Anambra as it is. And of course, that has its merits. But however, that is not the main thing, because somehow it seems that the ABGA party, or the ABGA government candidate, has just sifted through the recent happenings in Anambra, the very things that have held the Anambra person, captive. Insecurity, for example. There is a lacuna in their plans and facts. Now, let me not exhaust my time on ABGA. Moving to PDP. As it stands, the PDP, unfortunately, at the grassroots, have little or no structure. No offense to any PDP person here, but it is what it is. Because a critical look at the PDP as it stands, from the floundering they had when INEC did not publish the name of their candidate, the gubernatorial candidate, and the time it took, a lot of people, a lot of grassroots individuals, a lot of stakeholders, in fact, in communities, had to find a way to move their support from what they perceive to be a floundering, a staggering team, in fact, staggering party, to a party which they think is or has the most chance of staying in Agu-Awka. And that alone puts them in a very best position. The APC, then, however, notwithstanding the fact that they are the government at the center, there has always been a notion that the APC does not have a national outlook, because it is said to be calling nothing. And that aside, the mass exodus of politicians from the ABGA and the PDP into the APC has done more harm than good, if you ask me. Because, like it or not, those at the grassroots now think it is something of us against them. And that is the way they see it. And unfortunately, it does more harm than good to the APC gubernatorial candidates and APC team as a whole and their aim of being Agu-Awka. Now, the YPP, even though Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, a sitting senator in the Republic of Nigeria, has somewhat of a goodwill, which of course was what got him into the Green Chamber. However, the YPP remain an untested variable in this election, and that alone puts them on shaky ground, to say the least.
Thank you so much. We have a comment at the comment section, and the comment says from Hilary Beke. Person said there would be a sit-at-home in the whole of Southeast. Indigenous people of Biafra was prescribed as a terrorist group. So we are sitting at home, no election in Biafra land until Mazi is released. What is your take on this, Uche? I'm still waiting for Carmen to assure us that his network is better. Once that happens, we would move to him. Uche, please go ahead.
Sorry, repeat your question. I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
I said, what is your reaction to the fact that there is a sit-at-home order from the indigenous people of Biafra? With this in mind, do you still think that the people would go out to vote come November 6th?
The truth is, the indigenous people of Biafra, unfortunately, have continued to shoot themselves in the foot, because the consistent and constant sit-at-homes have done little to help the economy as it is. Now, when it comes to the election on that day, now let me tell you, most people who adhere to this sit-at-home not do so out of reverence, out of respect, out of even concordance or agreements with what IPOB say. They do it out of fear. Now, should there be a sit-at-home order on this November the 6th, day of election, and should the election still be slated for that day? Unfortunately, the number of voters is going to dwindle. And that's a simple truth, because most of these people who have always stayed at home during the stay-at-home orders on Mondays will continue to start home on that day, because they are afraid for their lives. And unfortunately, governments of the day, state government has not done much to pat our backs security-wise. And that is very unfortunate, because that will also affect the credibility of this election. You cannot.
Thank you so much.
Imagine. Sorry.
Please go ahead. Conclude, please.
Yeah, you cannot believe, or you cannot think or presume that a large number of people will come out to vote on election, going against others of IPOB who have in the past shown their proclivity to, disorderliness and, in fact, violence to people who have disobeyed their orders. And if you cannot fully assure citizens and Anambrarians of the security of their lives and properties, should they come out, in fact, to vote, then I do not see a major turnout of voters on November 6th.
Thank you so much, Uche Gwatu. Remember that this is a panel discussion trying to analyze the topic, Anambra2021, who sits in Agu-Awka. And we are still expecting representatives from the PDP, the APC, ABGA, and YPP. We have been discussing with Uche Igwatu. He is a political analyst, and I think I see Carmen Chooks from the YPP. Mr. Chooks, are you ready now? Mr. Chooks, your line is breaking up.
It's Mr. Chooks using an earphone. And if he's using an earphone, let him remove it and then try again.
But it's raining here. It's raining here in the Navy. And we're having some thunderstorms. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, that's fine. Good evening.
All right, can you also put your phone in a horizontal way? It's not so clear the way it is now.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, according to Uche, your party, the YPP, is an unknown factor talking about the Anambra State election. How is your party planning to compete against the APC, the PDP, and the current ruling party, ABGA?
Thank you very much, my dear sister. Uche may be operating from, I don't know if he's in Anambra State. I really doubt if he's in Anambra State, because if he is in Anambra State, I'm not sure he would have made that comment. The YPP set out in this election with a deliberate policy. And that policy is what we named the open door revolution. We are not buying politicians. We are dealing with the grassroots. And we have sustained that momentum from the day we set out on our 21 local government thank you and declaration tour visits till date. The idea behind that is that we know that power belongs to the people, the masses. We know that as against the former norm and belief that one politician or the other will create mountains and do one thing or the other. I think the Electoral Act and INEC, even with this, their recent intention to transmit results directly from the polling units, we are going to create an offset. So I want you to mark this. We have a pact with the people, and we are dealing directly with the people. That is why we embarked on the registration we did. We registered the Anambra people. We want to give them that sense of belonging. We want them to know that as against the former status quo, as against the former system, we want to bring governance down to the people. We want people to have a feel of governance. We don't want that era whereby a few persons, we grab power, the godfather and the godson, and then the rest will go and gnash it in dismay for 4 years, and then they come back after another 4 years, every election cycle, to make all manner of promises like you can see going on now. And you see these same politicians we are trying to, or this old brigade we are trying to avoid, you see what they are doing now. You see the level of, what I don't know the word to use, neglect for their people, I don't know. You see them jumping around, no ideology, they move from one party to the other, So we want to avoid that. We are dealing with the people. We are in the grassroots. We know what we are doing. And we are very focused on that.
All right, remember that you can join this conversation simply by raising up your digital hand. Now, trying to accommodate as much questions and comments as possible. Now, talking about campaign strategies, we have seen your candidate, Ifeanyi Ubah, over time focus his campaign in Lagos State. Why is that?
Well, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Ubah did not focus his campaign in Lagos State. I would like to correct that. What we did is, we know that we have in the Anambra in all over the world. He has gone to 5 states in the United States of America. He has gone to Turkey. He has been to Lagos. He has been to Abuja. He has been to Aba. We've been to Port Harcourt. The idea is to meet our people, to enter into different paths with our people. Like I said before now, we have a few who call themselves politicians and who seize this power and do what they like with it. But we got to a curve where in the Anambra started had this prevalent feeling that that era has come to an end. During the COVID era, something unique happened. When the senator gathered his friends and contacts, mostly Anambrarians, to build hospitals for our people, when they came together and built those 3 hospitals we have today, 2 already functional, 1 coming on very fast, they realized that they can actually do without this thing they call government and politicians. That is when we saw our people in diaspora, we saw our business community in Lagos, we saw all of them coming together to say, so we can actually do without these politicians. So we can actually take our destinies in our hands and manage our development without waiting for state government. If you come to Anambra State today, go to Awka in Unizik, see the hospital, state of the art, built in 4 months. Nobody knows that that is possible. The state government couldn't do that. What we had in Anambra before now is the Anambra University and what is the fate of those hospitals? And they are even federal hospitals. You know, the state ones we had, the one we have in Amako, the one in Okpo, sorry states, devastated. So this has come to make a difference, to take their destinies in their hands. So the conversation that started during the COVID era is what we started deepening by going to them in the United States of America, by going to them in the various markets in Lagos State. Our going to Lagos was very strategic. They will not understand what we are doing, but at the end of the day, they will understand. There is going to be, in fact, the issue of the unfortunate issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's arrest, you know, created a little setback to the momentum we've already built. Because the mass exodus home that would have taken place, it will still take place, but it's no longer, I must admit, it won't be as much as it would have been with what we built, but it's going to still happen. That is why we still plead with our brothers in IPOB to understand that there are better ways of driving this agitation, to understand that if they insist on this sit-at-home thing, that they're actually shooting themselves and we all on the foot, because it is not to our own good. Senator Ifeanyi quietly has been making serious overtures. He saw what he said when he went to court. He said he has made 2 previous efforts to see him, which was denied before he had to recourse to the court of law. And then there are also other political things that was ongoing. The idea behind this is we didn't want this to affect what we are trying to do with our people, because our people realized that this old political clique are actually the minority, and that they are the majority have always been the sleeping giants. The giants, but sleeping. So what happened during the COVID era woke up the sleeping giants. These giants realized that they actually have the power to change the narrative, to deepen the conversation, to drive the development that in the Anambra are yearning for. Because unfortunately, the last 7 years of this present government brought to fore serious agitation in the minds of people. For the first time, we got relegated. That's so much that before we used to say Abakaliki people were the farmers and the servants, they are lower than we. But today, go to Ebonyi State and see what Umahi is doing in Ebonyi State. When you go to Ebonyi and see flyovers, when you come to Anambra State, you shed tears. They gave us 13th century monuments of cement that are cracking and call that flyovers. So our people are not happy. So what we did in Lagos was very, very critical. What we did in Lagos was a pact that we entered with the traders. Don't forget that Senator Ifeanyi is a trader. He's an entrepreneur. His background is from Ewa boy, also from Ewa boy, Wacha boy, later, different country, where Subafia, where Pota, where Broyobu today. So the point is, one of their own came to Lagos to form an alliance, because we've tried all these professors and PhD holders like Mbadinujo and the rest, and we saw where it left us. And now we want to try somebody from the streets, somebody that has the passing sense, not passing six. And then we're even lucky to have someone who has both passing sense and passing six. We are witnesses on what happened a few days ago in Base University.
Thank you so much, Kamel. Mr. Ike.
Law degree.
Ikechukwu, are you there? Ikechukwu is representing the All Progressive Congress, the APC. Ikechukwu,
yes,
if you're here,
I'm here.
kindly unmute
Good evening.
yourself.
Good evening.
About...
Oh,
yes, good evening.
Forgive me Forgive me for coming late. I've been on campaign and I've been battling with network. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mazike Chukwanya. The question we are grappling with at the moment is,
Yes,
in view of the security situation in
I can
Anambra
hear
State, do you think that this
you.
election will actually go ahead on the 6th November?
We have been this.
The one thing is that hello. So the best of
Yeah,
my knowledge,
go ahead.
the issue of security, I think National Security Advisor has stated that security that they are ready for the election. I am not a security man. I am just a citizen. I've been on campaign trail, and based on the assurance, I believe that election should. I believe I submitted that election should go ahead. That we should go on with the election. After all, we have been on campaign. We have been touring everywhere campaigning for the election. Even now, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm still on a campaign tour in a village like that. So, election should go on. Thank you.
Okay. Now, one of the major crises we are facing as a nation is the challenge of insecurity, and like you just said, this is threatening the actualization of holding the elections come November 6th. How is your
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think her network is disturbing her again. But
No,
did we get
I
the
can
last
hear you.
question?
What's the question again? Repeat the question, please.
I think her network is disturbing. I don't actually know what she wanted to ask. But if I'm asking the question, my question would be, yesterday we had citizens open forum, citizen parliament on Anambra election. Some of the guests are actually youth corpers who have been engaged by INEC.
Planning to curb this.
Augusta, your network is making you come and go. So if you just wait a minute and then sort it out and then come back, please, if you don't mind. All right, she dropped finally. Okay, my question is being, yesterday we had a citizens parliament. Some of the guests were youth corpers who are being trained by INEC to help in conducting the election. And then some of them expressed the fear about sitting down on election but not knowing whether their lives are secured or not. In fact, yesterday I learned a certain phrase that they have been told you are the chief security officer of your life. And therefore that implies that if you feel that you are not safe, just decide what is best for your well-being. So Mazionya, from what you are saying, do you think, will people actually come out to vote, seeing that IPOB is threatening that people should stay at home? And then from what has happened in the past, those who disobeyed their sit-at-home order, there happen to be serious consequences in the past. How will that impact on the election?
Definitely, if we had expected 100% to come and vote, the number will drop. That is sure. The number, we are not going to have the same number again because of that, because of INEC, IPOB statement, no election slogan, no election slogan. People will, many or some will not come out to vote. While some will come to, we vote, we stand for the election. We had the issue of no census in Anambra sometime in 2006 and all that during the mass-up. Last 2017, we had the issue of no election in Anambra. Then 2021, we are facing the issue of no election again. I assure you that the election will take place. The reason being that you cannot shift election more than 90 days. Once 90 days before the handover, election must be conducted in line with the constitution 90 days before the handover, no matter what. And like I always stated, if one person comes out to vote, INEC will record one person and declare the results. And that one person, the governor will emerge and starts administering, ruling everybody, even those that have voted and those that did not vote. What am I saying in essence? What I'm saying in essence, no matter whatever thing that INEC, security will put up additional security men, additional security infrastructure on this in the state. They're already moving into Anambra to make sure that the election will not be interrupted. But that, no matter what the security agents or security apparatus, security architecture that are put in, people are already having this. Some are having this I won't participate attitude. Both. And we are going to have a party, yes, but the election will hold.
All right, before we go back to this issue of further security issues, before you came on, Mr. Chuks Ogbonnakamen have been telling us why he feels that the person who will sit in Agu-Awka in harmony with the thing being discussed is no other person than Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. You are here to speak on behalf of APC and your candidate of Senator Andy Ubah. Why do you think Andy Ubah should be the person sitting in Agu-Awka in February next year?
Thank you. One thing is that Andy Ubah is that man that will provide leadership. Leadership in essence. One, Andy Ubah as a senator, if you look at what he has been doing focusing on institutional framework to strengthen institutions. Actually, you can never drive growth without strengthening institutions on various sectors. If you look at his bill on agriculture, if you look at his bill on railway, trying to create competitiveness in railway sector and bring private participation in the rail sector. If you look at the transport and his bill on infrastructure financing, that tend to bring new mode of financing infrastructure, like road infrastructure. Today, Nigeria is now thinking in that direction, like issue of looking for alternative funding. You had MTN coming to fund Enugu-Onitsha Express, remaining of Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, and some other Dangote funding some other project and all that. What am I saying? Andy Ubah is that man that is coming to, one, domesticate some of these laws in Anambra, like the one he came up for agricultural credit loan, the one on rail sector and what have you. Andy Ubah is coming to open up the system to allow the experts in various sectors to come in. Andy Ubah is not claiming to be Mr. Know-It-All, but he's that leader, that man that will provide leadership. Why most persons are talking about themselves, Andy Ubah is talking about Elomba, the man that understands the media and modern communication. If Elomba knows about modern communication, Andy Ubah does not know, but I know what it should be. Okay, Elomba, come and handle this sector. This man that knows about infrastructural development, come and handle this infrastructure. This man that knows about agriculture, come and handle. That was what Agu-Awka did. Agu-Awka, the likes of some expert on agriculture and that, he creates leadership platform for various individuals to play on a certain sector, and he sits driving the leadership. What Andy Ubah is coming to do is not to assume ownership of every sector, but to create a path, leadership, that individuals with competence in a particular area will excel. Together, Anambra will thrive. That's what Andy Ubah is coming to. Andy Ubah is not coming to play Mr. Solomon, to be the wisest man. One thing about him is that he has been in the system. We know Andy Ubah, we know his weakness and his strengths. We know, we have seen him, because people used to say that Andy Ubah did not do anything. But when you look at his bill is not bill for Akarandose. If you look at that bill, Andy Ubah manufactured, if you find out critical bills for critical institutional framework to drive new growth. And if you look at this thing, Anambra is yearning for such. Anambra has very weak institutions. Talk about every sector. There is no sector in Anambra that has strong institutions, but we have strong men. We have been producing strong men in Anambra with weak institutions. So Andy Ubah is coming to strengthen institutions to drive growth. You can never, anywhere, no society can thrive with it's a weak institution. We have strong men. We need strong institution to galvanize growth. That's what Anambra is coming to do. For instance,
right.
if you look at Awka, we have Awka Capital Territory Development Authority. That cannot drive any growth. Why? The Awka Capital Territory Development Authority is too weak as an institution to thrive, because once any big man just stand against them, what are you doing here? They will run. We have weak institution. We need a man that had played so active in strengthening institutions. We need a man that has invested on education. If you look at Anambra today, one thing media has never captured is that Anambra is the biggest investor in education rehabilitation or school rehabilitation in Anambra State today. No politician in Anambra has invested on school rehabilitation more than Anambra today. It is on record.
Okay, thank you so much.
Look at that.
Thank you so much, Ikechukwu. Let us listen to David Emeka. David Emeka, your hand is up.
Okay, okay, I'm here now. Please, I would like to ask some questions to the person that has been speaking. So can I go on?
Please specify the person you're asking the question to and go on.
Just the last person now that said something about Anambra.
Please go on.
Okay, please, I would like it to be a question and answer from here now when I'm asking. Please, can you tell me, since he became a senator, what has he done for Anambra citizens? If he's on, he should answer me.
Please ask all your questions at once so that he can react at once.
Hello?
Okay. First off, okay. No, hold on, brother. They said I should ask all my questions at once. Okay, so first of all, what has he done for Anambra citizens since years that he have been there? Secondly, you've been talking about the educational sector. Please, can you point out where, which is it the university level, which university? Okay, if it's secondary school, which secondary school? If it's primary or nursery, let him tell us. Then coming to the part that he said that people will be scared. Let me take for example now. The sit-at-home order have been there for some time, and he said that we should all come out. How is he telling us to come out? Yeah, I know I will come out. But how is he telling the citizens of Anambra to come out and vote when all of them have been inside from every Mondays, even on their sit-at-home on Friday they did, and nobody came out? We couldn't see any military personnel telling us to move out, come and do our normal businesses, and you are telling us to come out on that day. So I would like you to just let me make it brief. Put all the answers together. Let me understand. Thank you very much.
Okay, just before I allow Ikechukwu to answer, Ikechukwu, just before I allow you to answer, remember that we have other panelists, so I would ask that you try your best to answer as swiftly as possible.
Okay, thank you. Let me start from what did Anambra achieve as a senator. You know, I've mentioned about let me start from bill. After the bill, I will move to projects. Permit me to start from the bill, Anambra.
Kindly keep it short. Anambra. Once you keep it short, and you can go on.
Okay, thank you. Now, the bills from Anambra. Let me mention them. One is a bill for an act to amend company income tax 215, sponsored by Anambra. A bill for an act to provide for delegated registration, monitoring and control, bill 215, sponsored by Anambra. A bill for an act to enact the criminal injury compensation, sponsored by Anambra. Corrupt practice and other related offenses amendment bill 215, sponsored by Anambra. A bill for an act to reappear the Nigeria Railway Corporation and Nigeria Railway Corporation bill, sponsored by Anambra. a bill for an act to amend Public Holiday Act 2010 and other sponsored by Anduba, a bill for an act to establish Nigerian Infrastructure Fund sponsored by Anduba, a bill for an act to amend Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund sponsored by Anduba, a bill for an act to amend National Inland Waterways Act sponsored by Anduba, a Federal Consumer Protection Bill sponsored by Anduba, a bill for an act to establish National Transport Commission 2016 sponsored by Anduba, National Road Fund Bill sponsored by Anduba, Nigeria Port and Harbour Authority Bill 2016 sponsored by Anduba, Nigeria Postal Commission Bill sponsored by Anduba, Prison Bill that changed the prison to correctional center sponsored by Anduba. In 2014, a bill for an act to amend NDDC Act 2014 for singular reason to accommodate Anambra as oil producing state was sponsored by Anduba. This is for the bill. I don't want to talk about the bill to create University of Atuga. That one is a bill I don't want to talk about. Then let's discuss project. Anduba there is a new school Anduba facilitated in Obizoga with over 30 buildings at Obizoga for skill development, the biggest skill development center in Anambra State, and facilitated by Anduba. He does not play media hype, but is there at Obizoga, the biggest ever in the entire Southeast, youth development for youth and skill development, over 30 buildings, and all the facility with generator, everything, sponsored from Anduba. Rehabilitation of classroom block, Akugo Central School, Umudim Newi, Anduba. Renovation of 5-room classroom block at St. Andrew's Primary School, Nkwo Newi Triangle, Newi. I'm talking about school alone here. I'm talking about school alone. Construction of classroom block at Ubo High School, Ubo, from Anduba. Rehabilitation of St. Luke Primary School, Isulo in Orumba South, from Anduba. Construction of classroom block at Union Secondary School, Umomak, Orumba South, from Anduba. Rehabilitation of classroom block at Community Secondary School, Ihite, Orumba South, from Anduba. Rehabilitation and renovation of classroom block at Akugo Secondary School, Umudim. I've said that one. Renovation of and completion of school building.
Ikechukwu, I'm sorry to interject here. Can you hear me?
You know, I'm listing the schools. I want to talk about.
I understand that you're listening. I understand. You're reacting to the question. Can you just keep the list short and then paste it on the comment section so people can read it there instead of you calling it one after the other, because it's going to take a lot of time. Excuse me. You know, he asked a specific question. Can I mention projects? When I said something and he reacted,
can I reply you to some of them? I'm still the same person speaking. Can I reply you to some of them?
Let our panelist finish giving his reaction, and then we'll see if we can accommodate you again. Please, Mr. Ikechukwu.
Renovation and completion of school building block at our community secondary school, our Ezinifte. Construction of classroom block, Central School, Azibo. Rehabilitation of classroom block, Upo High School, Upo. Rehabilitation of classroom block at Nanka. Renovation and construction of school block at AZMA Community Secondary School, Uli. Community Primary School, Uli. Renovation of school block at Boys High School, Ihiala. Rehabilitation of classroom at St. Michael Primary School, Ihiala. Rehabilitation of and construction of block of school block at Central School, Okija. Construction of school block at Uweze Secondary School, Egbema, Ozobolo. The roofing of 5-room classroom block at Zenos Primary School, Ozobolo. I can go on and the Akwi rehabilitation of secondary school block, community secondary school as Akwi rehabilitation of school blocks at community secondary school Ezinifite. I can go on and go on. The data prove that Anjuba has invested more than any politician in school rehabilitation. That is for education. And I've told you about over 30 buildings, new school for skill development at Obizoga. The only thing is that he doesn't invest on media, but he has something undeniable, something on the that you can touch beyond institutional, focus on institutional development. And again, Flip Oba Scholarship Foundation has produced so many graduates, so many scholars in different fields without making noise. Go and check, even in Unizik. Go and verify from Unizik record from various sectors. And construction of the mass communication department of Nnamdi Azikiwe University from Senator Dr. Andy Uba without making noise. That departmental building is from Andy Uba with communication masks donated to them. That is Andy Uba. He doesn't make noise about it. I can go on and on. I don't want to talk about the individual he helped
so much, Ikechukwu.
Okay.
Ikechukwu. Thank you so much. And we have other panelists. Let's us go back to Uche. Uche, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear
okay.
you.
Now
Yes,
you have heard representatives from the YPP and the APC, but in your opinion, looking at the state of affairs in Anambra State, will you say that the APC have done enough to convince India Anambra to trust them come November 6th?
Well, personally, as far as I'm concerned, the APC has always stood on ground. Honorable Senator Andy Uba, the representative from APC has listed. So, in fact, first of all, he said something about the candidate of APC, Senator Dr. Andy Uba, doing or carrying out projects concerning schools in which no politician in Anambra has ever done. If, of course, the stats are there, and if I remember correctly, as at the time, Governor Peter Obi, now I am not partisan, let me make this, as at the time Governor Peter Obi left, Anambra State was number one in Nigeria when it came to education. If the Peter Obi administration achieved nothing, they made sure that education was foremost in Anambra State. School-wise, rehabilitation of schools that he has been listing, the entire, there's
you're talking about
giving of.
You are talking about governor. You're talking about
now. If okay, first of all, the question that you were asked, sir, you were asked in what capacity? As a sitting senator, not as a philanthropist. That was the question.
Yes,
so
not the governor. Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State, not a senator.
If you want to talk about,
if Andy Uba was a governor also, for 8 years, who would have done that?
Senatorial seats. Then let's prove our points from senatorial seats moving to a governor. Then let's talk about that. I would like to interrogate you with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Now, sir, I am drawing a comparison because the question you were asked was what he had done by virtue of his political position. Now, both whether a governor or a senator, both of them are political positions. And now, why I drew that comparison was because you said no politician has ever done that. So you now trying to predict whether he's a governor or a senator doesn't really make much sense. But of course, I'm going to try to indulge you on that. However, apart from that,
the other one is the Anambra State. When you talk about the other one is Anambra State. Anambra State. This one is a senator, is not executive or opposition. We are talking about you cannot compare a governor that handled the state budget.
The list of bills that you say were sponsored by Senator Andy Uba, out of all of them, very, very few have been passed into law. That is number one. As a ladies, what?
He said out of out of all of them,
Out of the
Put it,
plethora.
Mazi, to put it as a question instead
All
of
right, all right,
you are
all
the
right, all
analyst.
right.
So put it
Sorry.
as a question.
Out
Mazi, yes.
of the plethora of bills that your candidate has sponsored while he was in the green chamber, how many of them have been passed into law?
Thank you. What we should be looking at is the bill you pass, bills you push, is sponsored. Passing into law is another bunch of politics. But first is intention you consider. Let me give you an example. Bill for agri-credit loan sponsored by Anambra was assented into law in 2019. That bill was the aim of that bill is to advance commercial agriculture. That bill is the main reason why people are getting farmers are getting loans. That bill for Anambra. Farmers getting loan, agri loan that has been on in Nigeria for a while now is from Anambra, even though there are many don't know. Use Google and check. That bill was passed into law. It came to Anambra. The correctional center that led to reformation going on in prison came to Anambra. It was a bill Anambra was behind. I can go on and on. The only thing is that Anambra doesn't play in the media. I've just mentioned the agri bill that has resulted to a lot of innovation and loan to farmers that are pushing for.
So what you're trying to say is that only the agri something have come into law from Anambra. Is that what you're trying to say?
Not true. I mentioned agri. I mentioned prison bill. Again, another thing you need to know about some of these bills is that sometimes you come up with a bill and the bill will be passed and submitted to the president. Either the president return it back or veto the bill or whatever. But most times, the content of the bill will be used to enrich the existing policies of the government. Most cases. I give you an example.
Meaning that it is not yet passed into law. That's what you're saying.
First of all,
what
Mazanya,
we are looking at.
You mentioned.
Listen, I mentioned bills that have been passed into law, and if I check, I can tell you more. If you look at the inland waterway bill, if you look at the Anambra inland waterway bill, not true. Most of them have been passed into law. And let me say,
you mentioned at the beginning that we should not look at you mentioned that we should not look at the bills passed into law, but we should look at the intentions. Did I remind you that politics is not a game of intentions? We are just about intentions. Every single person has honorable intentions.
Oga is not true. Listen, politics. So in framing public, excuse me, allow me. In framing public policy you can help to shape public policy by means of suggestion. Your suggestion can shape a policy and help the country or help the state. That is what I'm trying to say. And if you look at issue of most of this bill, Anambra's bill, you find out that most of them have been passed. Anambra to date has the highest record of senator from Southeast with the highest bill that turned into law. No other senator from Southeast has the number of the bill that was transformed into law than Anambra. Yet, it doesn't make noise about them.
But please don't forget to answer me why you said that we should come out on election day when there is no security, even on the sit at home. Even on every sit at home. You have not told us why. I said that
Mazionya is not the chief security officer of the state.
He said that we should come out and vote. But I asked him, what of the security of the people? What are you talking about?
I said that we have enough security.
Even on this way,
I said that we have enough security.
Okay, we have enough security, but people have been killed on the sit at home. Is that what you're trying to tell
Not
me?
anymore, because
if I may comment, since I think there is no order here, anybody can just start talking. Let me also start talking my own. My name is Ebuko Enyekwel. what I want to say here precisely is I don't think
Because
anybody here has
we
has
have
control of the security architecture.
if,
But today,
if,
as of today, the
if,
IG has already assured that they have over about 14 commissioners of police and about 5 police DIGs. You know, I mean, two police DIGs and about 4 or 5 assistant inspector general that has been deployed. A very top senior police officers. You know, all of them together almost over 30 of them or thereabout. Shut up, my friend. Almost over 30 or thereabouts. They've been deployed to ensure that the security of people who are going out to vote, to cast their vote on that next week, you know, is ensured. And so I think if that kind of assurance is coming from the top police hierarchy, I think we are assured that there is safety, there is security. So that's my own contribution towards the argument.
We thank you, Ebuka, we thank you very much, Ebuka, for your interjection. Who next are we expecting to speak so that we have an orderly comment? Who is about to speak now?
Can I say something about this security something? I won't ask anybody any question, but I just want to speak something now. I want to speak about something.
All right, David, in 2 minutes.
Okay, in 2 minutes. Okay, you are saying about security. I would like to use Nnewi that I visited today as an example. I left there like not less than 5 minutes ago. In the morning, you will not see any policeman in front of area command in Nnewi. But in the evening, they will come out because they mounted a roadblock in front of Nnewi area command. All of them goes into area command, lock the gate, lock the small gate, and they're telling us their security. Who is the person to secure us? Then this every night, they will come out, come in front of the roadblocks. How will I put it now? Try to force people of their money because maybe they are carrying a bag. What are you holding? What are you holding? Okay, pack where? We know them. Okay, at the end, you will pay 500, you will pay 1,000, and you leave. But in the morning, in the afternoon, when you need them, when this will be putting our votes down, you won't see any of them. Okay, all those times that there are insecurity in Anambra State, it wasn't in the night. It was normal daytime, morning, afternoon, evening. You won't see these people on the way. And you're telling us to come out fully, to come and put our votes down for our candidates, right? How do you want an old woman of 60 years to come out after hearing that they burnt this one, they did this one? Please answer these questions.
I think you made a very important observation. That also harmonizes with what our youth corpers are saying on this forum yesterday. So, Ebuka, how would you respond to this issue of if the people cannot see any security officer on the road, how now can you assure simply because you posted 5 commissioners of police over the radio? How would that convince people to come out and vote on an election day?
No, the fact of this whole matter, you know, at least a fair understanding of how the security apparatchik, you know, works. When you have very top officers in the police force or in the army, or you know, coming to moved to a place, you know, by the mere fact of their presence, it brings a lot of sanity, a lot of security. So the security, as far as they are there to do the job, except that themselves are compromised. Except they themselves are compromised. When you have top police officers in confined in Anambra State as it is, you know, today, because as of today they've already been deployed under the command of DIG Ebunike also. You know, he's the person that coordinating the activities. So when you already have about 14 commissioners of police, when you have a single commissioner of police to a state, and now you're having about 15 or so in all to Anambra State because of the kind of security we are going to have. The fact of the matter is
that the ones around now are compromised. Are you trying?
With their presence alone, we have enough personnel, you know, and if they are committed to their job, the only concern is if they are compromised. If they are not compromised, they will get the job done. That's a simple fact.
Okay, thank you so much, Ebuka. Remember that this is a panel discussion. If you want to make your contribution, kindly raise your hand, your digital hand, and please try not to interrupt when others are speaking. I can see Infinix notes. Infinix. Okay, I think I lost you there. Raymond Miracle
Her name is
Adeze.
Raymond Miracle
Adeze. Okay, Raymond Miracle Adeze, your hand is up. Please unmute yourself and make your submission.
Good evening. From every indication, we know that probably the election is a go-ahead, except for the security issues we have on hand, on ground. So in as much as they're deploying security officials and stuff, it's not reassuring the people. The people are not reassured of their security. So there's no how you tell someone to come out and vote that you have 10,000 military battalions on ground that they will come out. It's not possible because they've seen things happen before them. So we need more than just telling us you've deployed security officials. We have top-ranking people on ground and they are ready to do their work. No, we need more than that for an assurance. You won't tell a woman that goes to market every day and probably every Monday she runs away from the market, probably because of the sit-at-home situation and insecurity, that you have deployed millions of battalions, whatever. She's not going to come out. It's not possible. So more than whatever it is they've deployed and whatever it is they said over the air, the people need assurance. The masses need assurance of security because nobody wants to toil with their life.
Okay, and what assurance do you think that the masses need?
Probably.
What more can the federal government do? Please go ahead.
If I'm to suggest, we have few days left for the election, and in as much as they've added that they've deployed persons, they've deployed personnel, we need to see these persons act. We need to see something before then. Okay, because if we keep having issues of unknown gunmen and at the end of the day, they are not caught, there's no justice, there's nothing, and just lies, and everything just is being swept under the carpet. And you tell us that they're going to bring out 10 million people. We are not trusting you for anything. So what I'm saying is this: if they've deployed security officials and whatever, they should get them working beforehand. But people have an assurance that yes, we have something on ground. So you don't start ghosting them until that day.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's go back to the discussion. Who sits in Agu-Awka? Let's go back to Carmen. Carmen Chooks, are you there? Carmen? Carmen from YPP, are you there?
Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here, Augusta.
Can
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now tell us, why should your candidates be voted come November 6th?
Okay, Augusta, thank you very much. Before I go into that, I will have a contribution to make on this security thing. I think there is no need for us to deceive ourselves. We have a problem in Anambra State. We have a problem in the Southeast. Abacha said something. He said, if insecurity lasts more than 48 hours, you know that the hand of government is involved. Somebody made a germane comment. The people stay in the so the federal government that wants people to be reassured enough to come out to vote in an upcoming election, they would have started by ensuring that people come out on Mondays, on the preceding Mondays before that election. That is how the reassurance comes. You don't reassure people with mere words and statements, phrase statements. We are in Nigeria. We are insecurity. Unfortunately, the APC government has not done well when it comes to security in Nigeria as a whole. Before it was in the north, later it got extended to the west before the west came up with Amoteku and did a good job in stopping to a very large extent insecurity in the west. Now we have insecurity in the southeast. And when you see the way the whole thing is done, it's unfortunate. We have a state government and governor who is, I'm sorry to use the word, naive. Because if we are to have a proactive state governor, he should know that what is going on is not something he should leave to the federal government. He should know that there is something called local policing. You should know that our vigilantes, our village setup should be done in a way, should be networked. But all these things are not happening. It's actually playing into the hand of whatever agenda the APC has for Anambra State. It's simply, that is just the plain truth. And we cannot hide away or shy away from that. Now, what is the solution? The solution that we have as in Anambra is what we call mass action. The type that we did during the end. Entrance exposed something in the very fabric of the Nigerian society. It shows that the will of the people cannot be manipulated. When the people are collective in their resolve that enough is enough. If our people decide that this plot ongoing to fix an unpopular government in Anambra State will not happen, our people will choose to come out en masse on the 6th of November, that's Saturday. And you'll find out that nothing will happen. Those whether you call them unknown government, in Imo State, they said they saw some DSS and this one and that one, all those speculation, whatever guys you call them, whether they call them security men, whether they call them unknown, on that day where the people are out, how can they operate?
Carmen.
That is the question.
Carmen, please react to the question.
What I'm saying,
we are out of time.
We need collective and mass action for us to overcome whatever it is they are planning for Anambra State. That is that on security. Coming to why I believe Anambra should vote for YPP and Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi. It's a very simple thing. The choice before Anambra is a choice between going forward in the next 8 years and a choice between continuing on the backward pedestal that we have been on, a backward trajectory. We have had rulers who are conscienceless, soulless, and don't care whatever about the people. We don't want you to come and tell us how you write bills, you did this bill, you did that bill, and people are hungry, and our roads are impassable, and our schools are dilapidated, the infrastructure is messed up, and then you innovated schools in Mars or in Jupiter. We know, we are Anambrarians, we know ourselves. We know all those schools, we know all those roads. We are not well. Anambra is in a sorry state. And the only person among the contenders I'm seeing who is genuine enough, is coming, who has staked his personal investments in the state as a social contract pact with the people to say, I have investment in this state. I want to make this state work. If I don't, go and carry out an NSAS riot on my properties. I have a stake in the state. I won't finish ruling the state and go to Texas back to my swimming pool. No, I am here. I'm part of you. The antecedent speaks for itself. He has always been with the grassroots. He has always worked for the grassroots. What he did during the COVID, he know that state-of-the-art hospitals can be built in 4 months. It happened in Anambra State because of Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi. Do I talk about the legacy projects that he has? Do I talk about the International FIFA Certified Stadium? Do I talk about all his interventions? Even as a private individual, when he was giving kerosene and all those things. We need a man that has the milk of human kindness, number one. We need a man that is an idea bearer, a capacity-laden individual that knows what to do at every point, that knows the old nooks and crannies of Anambra State. If you're talking about Anya Menem, Awanako, if you're talking about Obaru, if you're talking about Ibuku, if you're talking about Obo, he knows because he has been there, he has mixed up with the people, he has raised people from there. And then he has another unique thing going for him. He has a knack for discovering individual talents He has a knack for saying, I know you'll be good in this place. Go and handle it. These are the things that Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi is bringing to the table. He is not coming to look for wealth because God has already blessed him with wealth. So what he's coming to do is to make a name, to leave a legacy. That is why it is very important that in this election, we have to look at all the contestants. We have to look at their pedigree. We have to look at their antecedents. What were their track records? What were they doing before today? The ones that are now answering call today, do they have record of answering call in the past? The ones that are saying, I want to drive the trailer of Anambra State, does the person have a driver? Has the person ever driven a vehicle before? A Volkswagen Beetle? These are the factors, these are the questions. When you place among the four major contenders, you see a wealth creator and then an employer of labor against salary earners, against people that came out because my godfather says, go and contest the election. I will back you so that you win and you come back and we'll see that at the table and we'll share in this same Anambra, in this same nation where the resources are dwindling on a per second billing. We need idea bearers who will think outside the box.
Kindly conclude.
Think outside the resources that comes from the center, because the resources are dwindling. The federal government has been going on a borrowing spree. Obviously, the HBC at the center has run out of ideas. So we need a governor that has even the contacts, that has the contact to say, I can go to this place and bring in so and so people, and we can join hands together and deliver for the state. These are the kind of things we should be looking at. Not people that will wait, collect security votes, and then tax people that sell ogiri and ugu and apple, collect their own tax, and then embark on an ostensive and inhuman lifestyle. Why people are growing in pains. That is not what we are looking for. That is why it is very important that as we go into this election, our people needs to think. We need to think critically. We need to examine the records of these persons who are smiling now, who are coming with great theoretical skills, who are toasting us practically. You know, we need to question their credentials. We need to ask who we are there before today, because this was what led us to where we are today. Somebody came and said, I trust this person. He was a former banker. He worked in Tesaco. In fact, he's the best thing for Anambra. And this is where we are today. And that same person is coming again now to still say, I want to bring another person. He served the Rumelu in a hotel, 5-star hotel. So he's good for Anambra. Or another one that came to say, I don't want to.
Let me ask you this question, Augusta. Let me ask you this question, because Augusta said he wants to round up very soon. Augusta, if you allow me. Now, the Southern and Middle Belt Alliance are asking whether they should endorse a candidate in this election. And it's a big debate going on now. So tell me, can you give me just two reasons in your mind why you think somebody should endorse Senator Ifeanyi as the preferred option in this election? Two reasons in your mind.
Yeah, one is very jabbing. There was a time we did what we called handshake across the Niger, where we had a meeting in Enugu with our brothers in the West. You saw how it went. None of these contenders were there, except Senator Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi. Why? He has the pedigree. He has the capacity. He has that knowledge of what needs to be done. He has the drive, the courage. He has no skeleton. This is the most important thing, because the problem many of these politicians have, which is the reason
so
why.
one, like I said, we are running up. One is in your mind is because he is acceptable around the. Is that what you are saying?
There's no skeleton. He cannot be blackmailed, so he can take a stand for the Southeast on the Igbo. You understand? And he will stand.
One. The second one?
The second one is that he has the ideas. He is an idea bearer, like I always say. He has the ideas on what needs to be done.
You know,
All right. Okay. Thank you. He's an ideas man.
I'm not calling a different version of Dimo Dumogweju.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you so much, Carmen.
The type that will use Jojo to get what he wants, to get the results that he seeks. So that
Thank you
is
so
one
much, Carmen. Let us
we
hear from one more person. That's the last. That's our last participant for today. Infinix Note 10 Pro. I asked you your name and I didn't get a response from that.
If he's not giving us a name, we're not calling him.
Okay, let us hear from the non-partisan analyst Uche, and then we will round up. I can see that Ikechukwu is no longer here. Ikechukwu, if you're here, kindly indicate so that I will call you before I round up. But Uche, are you here?
Sorry, I was muted. So I have heard the submissions of both the reps of APC and the YPP. It is quite unfortunate that the other members of the Big Four, like you call them, the ABGA and the PDP are not here. But unfortunate as it is, one thing stands clear: as an Anambra indigen, as an Anambra citizen, as an Anambra person, a person who says Anambra of age of franchise, whatever age, there is not a lot to be excited about. The atmosphere as it stands leaves a lot to be desired by virtue of not just the insecurity, which leaves the election swinging on the pendulum, whether it will happen or not. Besides that, the candidates themselves and the political parties touting them, projecting them, there are a lot of issues that need to be looked into precisely. And first of all, let me also take this opportunity to correct the YPP. When I talked about YPP, I never said they were unknown. I said previously untested was the word I used. Previously untested. I know. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Exactly. So it is because somewhat of variable. However, be that as it may, I can try to presume to know who will emerge as Agu-Awka come November 6th. However, I must say one thing. Anambra State, as it is right now, is on the verge of a whole new beginning. This is 30 years of creation of the state. We see the ABGA, political party has handled power. And before them, we're the PDP. We are turning a page in Anambra. And we have gone beyond the politics of federalism. We have gone through that era, survived that era. We have gone beyond the politics. In fact, in a tradition of sorts, wherein any person who has Agu-Awka and ousted by a time they try and not re-elected into Agu-Awka again. Now, that is not a claim to know the veracity of that statement. In fact, this election will put it to the test. However, all I can say, all political parties will go and they will battle it out through voting. And I can only say, let the best.
Thank you so much. Ikechukwu, if you're here, kindly indicate. I don't think he's here, and that's as much as we can take on today's panel discussion. We have been discussing Anambra2021, who sits in Agu-Awka. Special thanks to our panelists. We invited representatives from the Big Four, but only representative from the APC and the YPP finally accepted the invitation and showed up. Special thanks to Ikechukwu Emeka Onya and Kame Chooks. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Augusto. Thank you very
and also
much
special thanks to Uchenna Egwatu. He is a political analyst and a non-partisan person that served as a panelist. And from me, Augusta Neka, I am going to hand over now to Mr. Daniel Elumba for the informal session. Mr. Elumba, are you there?
Thank you very much. Before we go, Frank Hill Okudo has finally given us enough to contribute before we go to.
Okay,
Mr.
Franklin Okudo.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Very good. I just have one contribution to make, just one, because I think I joined the conversations very late. That YPP is taking over Anambra State come November 6th. And Senator Patrick Ifanyoba is the candidate to beat. That is the only thing I want to contribute. We are taking over November 6th. Inshallah. Thank you.
All right, we thank you.